also know that there is an atmosphere in the country in which some elements are trying to polarize the society. So it is in this environment that we are talking about. Most of all, the people who are trying to divide us are in Pakistan, and they have come up with a new theory of Ghazwa Hind, which is, the fights and struggles in which the Prophet used to get involved were called Ghazwa. Today there is no Prophet, and there cannot be a Ghazwatul Hind. But the propaganda, large propaganda in Pakistan is that Pakistan has been created to engage in a Ghazwa with India, and in which the Prophet will be participating in absentia. And so it is the duty of every Pakistani to participate in that. And for this, they are just giving a very, very weak hadith from Hazrat Abu Huraira, which is not found in any of the authentic books, that the Prophet said that fighting against India would be considered one of the best ghazwas that I engage in personally. Now, this kind of atmosphere, you may not believe it, but in Pakistan you will find that these people are publishing photographs of Pakistani flags flying on our Red Fort. You may laugh at it, but believe me, these people are very serious. And they think that they can do it. And for that, one of the elements is to divide our society here, to find some elements within my community in India also who can help them in doing that. So these kind of conspiracies are going on, in which we have to re-establish our faith in the composite culture that has sustained us for centuries. You see, Islam and India have been connected for 1300, 1400 years. And for the first 1300 years at least, there has been no violence as such between Islam and India. Islam was welcomed in India, first in South India, then even in Sindh when the Arabs came and they conquered. The most important thing that happened there is that though Hindus living in Sindh were polytheists, could have been considered idol worshippers and dismissed as kuffar by the Muslims who had come, but they studied Hindu scriptures and they found that Hindus are actually Ahle Kitab. So right from the 7/11 when Abu Qasim had come and captured Sindh, Hindus have been treated as Ahle Kitab. Now, Ahle Kitab is, what is the concept of Ahle Kitab? Some of you may not know. Ahle Kitab is people of the book, which means that Quran says that God has sent prophets all over the world in all nations, and all these prophets were given revelations. When these revelations are collected, they become books. Like Quran is a book, which is a collection of revelations that came to the prophet through the 23 years of his prophecy. Now, so Quran says that there is no nation where a prophet has not been sent, and there is no prophet who was not given revelations. So practically everybody in humanity is Ahle Kitab as far as Muslims are concerned. And so when these Arabs came to India, even as a conqueror in Sindh, they treated Hindus here locally as Ahle Kitab. And since then our relationship has been based on this, and this was the foundation of the composite culture that we have evolved. In this, Hindu philosophers, etc., have also made a great deal of contribution, and I would particularly like to quote some of the things. I have already told you about these quotations from the Prophet and this, and then Maulana Azad, who our professor here has specialized in and will talk more about, he believed in Wahdat-e-Deen, which is the concept of unity of religions, that all religions are one. And the same concept was earlier explained in much more detail by one of the greatest Islamic scholars and mystics, Ibn Arabi. I'll give you a quotation from him, from Al-Fusus. This is one of his very well-known books. Beware of restricting yourself. This is what Ibn Arabi says. Beware of restricting yourself to one particular religion and disbelieving in everything else, so that great good would be missed by you. Indeed, you would miss attainment of knowledge of the affair in the form he is following. Rather, be ready to accept all forms of belief. This is because Allah is higher and greater than to be comprehended by one belief to the exclusion of others. Rather, all are correct, and everyone who is correct receives award, and everyone who is rewarded is fortunate, and everyone who is fortunate is one with whom he is pleased. So you can see that there is this basis of Wahdat-e-Deen that Maulana Azad talk about later in Islamic philosophy. And many Sufi saints in India, for instance, Mazhar Jana Jana is very well known in that. He accepted Hazrat Ram and Hazrat Krishna also as prophets. I mean, he talked about that. Then you know about Allama Iqbal, who called Hazrat Ram Imamul Hind. There can be no better description for Ramchandraji from an Islamic philosopher, who is also considered by Islam, by Pakistan today, as one of the founders of Pakistan. But he considered Hazrat Ramchandraji as Imamul Hind. Swami Vivekanand, that Professor Anand Kumarji also talked about, had probably the most intuitive and the best idea of the relationship between Hinduism and Islam that should be and should exist. He himself did not dwell on that idea much for some reason, probably he didn't find time. We Hindus and Muslims also did not take that idea further. The idea was, he gave in one of his letters, he wrote, I see in my mind's eye the future perfect India, rising out of this chaos and strife, glorious and invincible, with Vedanta brain and Islam body. Now this is from his letters, one of his letters. Now this is a key, this could have been actually a key to a greater depth of relationship between Islam and Hinduism, of our composite culture. Had we pursued this idea further, had he himself also gone in greater detail about what he actually meant by it and how it could be implemented, perhaps we could have even avoided the horrors of partition and many other things that have happened since then.